Welcome to Inside Out, Upside Down. My name is Kate, and this is Infinite Love. I'd say I've come pretty far along my healing and spiritual journey, but the road wasn't as clear or direct as my unhealed self had hoped for. Honestly, I held no expectations, just this desire to be home. But what was home exactly? For so long, home was built on what I could see, more so the external factors of a house, a family, and the fond moments built over time. This all changed as I stumbled along my healing path, which ultimately transformed into a spiritual path too. As I was trying to navigate my way through the dark nights, lessons, and ascensions, I began to deeply feel within my heart and soul, all while balancing life as it unfolded new lessons all around me. The foundation of what I once knew or believed to be true was simply torn down and rebuilt into new as I kept taking more steps forwards in my healing. So many questions began to arise that my soul desired to know as it began awakening slowly the more I healed the pains of my past. Time became an illusion, even to this day, when in self-reflection of when this journey truly began until now doesn't seem to fit. Has it really been 4 years? And what has transpired within that time frame? To be honest, so much. But outside looking in, it would appear minimal. But for me, I'd say everything. I was and continue to learn so much about myself, about this journey, and what it is I truly desire. The greatest gift is discovering my soul's purpose as I progress along this journey. The hardest part about this journey, it's the abrupt emotions that surface at the most synchronized times, even if the timing feels inconvenient. What does that mean exactly? I'll give you an example. Recently, I woke up around 4 a.m. on my own for several days in a row. My body felt rested. My soul wanted to get moving. But my mind, which is conditioned to, it's too damn early, I just want to sleep, was the ultimate struggle. After attempting to reflect while still laying in bed, I still felt unaligned. So I chose to get up and get moving. Made my morning coffee and flipped through my phone while listening to meditative sounds. This is my deep reflection time as I'm slowly waking up and finding that balance, all while receiving divine messages and piecing together my journey or my day. Typically, I regain my balance and alignment immediately, but this morning felt so different. In layman's terms, I simply felt off, just not myself. I could have easily let this hinder the rest of my morning, but it's not something I connect with, negativity. Does this mean I can't have an off day? No, not at all. Again, I'm not striving for perfection, but more so than none, positivity overrides majority of my day, even when I allow space for my quote-unquote bad moment. To me, it's all about finding that balance within. So because I knew I was feeling off, I wasn't going to perseverate upon this, like I did at the beginning of my healing journey. I started laundry, took a shower, made breakfast, and just sat in the comforts of my blanket and put on a documentary. As the day carried on, my motivation for my creative projects was stalled a bit, and as I found myself wanting to be frustrated, I took a break from the TV and scrolled through social media and kept coming across a movie. It had been days of me seeing clips of this movie, and I kept it stored into my soul bank as there was something important, a message to receive from this movie. I truly wanted to get my podcast episode going while I had the luxury of it being a Sunday and wouldn't have the exhaustion from a workday getting in my way. So I began to write my episode. But again, I still felt off or unaligned and wasn't fully connected with my episode I was writing. I have expressed in a past episode that something I have learned greatly is to not rush the process. Don't force it. So I took a break, walked away from it all, went back to laundry and making lunch, and it hit me, my memory of this movie. Okay, I'll just make my lunch and watch this movie. What I wasn't expecting, though, was my entire soul being triggered in such a new, uncomfortable, emotional way. When I say I felt unrecognized emotion everywhere, I mean my inner child, my highest self, my past lives, every chakra just purged everything within me emotionally. I began to sob, and it was that sob that comes from deep within its core. The sob that feels like unforgettable grief. I didn't question it, nor try to stop myself from crying or feeling this imbalance. I just simply allowed myself to pour into this purge, this beautiful release, and then I sat with it and began to process it all. What did it all mean? Here is what I gathered. Breaking all those generational curses, or in simpler terms, traumas, to which were passed down from generation to generation until someone was ready to break them for herself. Yep, that's me, a goddess warrior who said, that pain no longer defines me. Not today, not tomorrow. It ends right here. Remember that illusion of time I spoke about earlier? If I were to rewind back to that time, that day right before my journey would take a whole new path, you'd visualize a woman who may appear to have it all together. Smart, funny, kind, compassionate, good listener, a giver, a nurturer, filled with love and hope. But if you unmasked that same woman, you'd see a lost child, broken-hearted, someone who self-sabotages, scared, silently angry, attached yet avoidant, confused, misguided and insecure, guilted by shame. Definitely not the woman who can easily describe herself as a goddess warrior without feeling shame or guilt about having such confidence. The difference is, I don't take pride in these beautiful labels. Rather, I hold pride in myself through self-love. I walk the life in darkness, searching for that beautiful light, when all along, that beautiful light was always within me. I just had to unveil my mask, to which created my own blockages, placing all the puzzle pieces back together and allowing myself to see how beautiful my journey has been and will always be, because I now see me within this masterpiece and see my faith, my hope, my love. So this is what a day of doing the inner work, the spiritual work, looks and feels like for me. Some days aren't as intense as my recent experience. In fact, some days were quiet, too quiet, which taught me to be still, relax, and just simply be. Be present, be in the moment, whether it's enjoying a meal, listening to a book on Audible, playing one of my favorite games on my phone, listening to TikTok, or taking a few naps. Allowing the restlessness to wash away and trust in what is not present, for everything serves a greater purpose when universe desires you to know. No journey is the same. Therefore, no day is the same. So I learned to let go of attachment to what I used to know, like routines or patterns. I simply trusted and flowed with what energy I was experiencing or feeling. This work all began because of a question that had resurfaced, what is home? Which led to a movie continuously popping up in my life, only for me to store into my soul bank, which I named for my soul's memory. And this all resurfaced because of this off energy I was experiencing differently. I had the key within me now to make these connections, follow through with faith, knowing I was being divinely led to these new emotions to allow myself to come to balance within, full alignment. 555 on my clock as I share this, telling me divine changes are happening. Universe is always speaking. I hear now. I see. I feel. I trust. So what is home? Home is where your soul is in union with self. You are in alignment within yourself. For me, in my journey, it is about pouring into my own cup, to then allow the overflow to pour into others who are energetically aligned with me. I never gave myself this gift, as I naturally served others, helped others. It felt good to pour my love into others rather than myself, because to love thyself meant to love all of myself, and I just couldn't embrace that concept. It didn't align with my true feelings I had towards myself that I masked so heavily. Now, does this mean I don't or won't pour love into others who are not in alignment? And by this I mean those who choose not to do the work? No, I love unconditionally and understand where they are at on their own journey and hold beautiful, loving, energetic space for them. But choose to continue my own path and protect my own space and myself, because these are my boundaries now. This is my love that I've worked so hard to give to myself in order to share with others. Home is where my soul feels most energetically aligned, which means I could be anywhere in the world amongst anyone in the world and feel more alive, more free, and more at peace within. Have you ever been around someone that you're so energetically aligned with that it wouldn't matter where you are in the world? When you're in their presence, in their energy, you just feel like you're at home, safe, loved, divinely in union. That's what home is to me. When I'm allowed to connect with those energetically aligned with me. And this doesn't even just mean people. Have you ever been somewhere where you feel like you're just at home? And it's the most random place, but it's familiar. It's beautiful. It brings out something within you that makes you feel more alive than you ever have before. That's what home is. That energetic alignment. And there's no greater gift than that. So for the rest of my day, once I processed everything, I moved about so freely, feeling fully aligned, feeling home within myself. I rewrote my podcast, finished other tasks on my list, and found myself in deep meditation for the remainder of the evening, until I realized it was way past the hours I'd normally be asleep. But I was enjoying this high vibrational energy. Eventually, I drifted off to sleep, waking up to a brand new day, filled with the wonders of the world's magic all around me. To be honest, I felt like a kid again, just excited to see what adventure my day would bring me. So what was that movie that triggered me back into alignment? You wouldn't believe me if I told you, but it was Upside Down. Not the first movie I'd picked to watch, but I went where I was led to and trusted it held a message, and it did. In fact, it held so much more than a message. It was a beautiful release, allowing new to pour back into me, new love, new meaning, new purpose, new transformations, all beautiful gifts I kept receiving along my healing and spiritual path. You see, when divine sends you a message, you listen. And for me, I hold it into my soul's bank, my memory, because I know that right there, right in the moment, while listening to my intuition, that it's just not time. I'm not going to understand even if I start digging into everything, doing the research, trying to piece everything together, forcing or rushing the process. Something within me lights up. It's that inner knowing without knowing. And I know simply to say, all right, I'm going to hold that. I'm going to store it into my soul bank for a later time. When I'm ready for it, I will utilize this tool, this gift, this key. And so that's what happened. I didn't catch on right away because I was sitting within this uncomfortability throughout my morning. But it was so uncomfortable because I hadn't felt that in a very long time. But it wasn't the uncomfortable I normally would have felt. This felt not only like it was mine, but after breaking everything down and processing it, realizing that it was something I carried along for so many lifetimes, which is why I couldn't really establish it as all mine, because it was felt over lifetimes. It was felt in all my chakras, from head to toe. It was felt so differently but loudly. And I knew not to fight it. I knew because of all the healing I was doing that I had to sit within it and just let it be, process it, talk within myself, identify where it bothers me, and then carry on with my day without ignoring it, without masking it, without avoiding it. And as I carried on and started listening more and more to what it was I needed in those moments, universe led me right back to that movie. And it was that aha moment of, wait, now is the time. What better time than I'm sitting here on the couch, uncomfortable, crawling out of my skin, unaligned. Why not eat my lunch and watch this movie? And then everything transpired. And everything took over me. The emotions didn't just pour from my heart. It poured from every fiber of my being, head to toe. And that's when I knew it was just this beautiful release that had to just flow out of me. And I let it, and I felt it, and I loudly cried through it. And I caught myself at one moment trying to figure out, what is this? But then quickly said, just go, just flow with it, cry it all out, get it all out, feel it everywhere. Don't process it, don't think about it, just do it. Because you're releasing all this space to allow new to come within you. And that's when you'll figure it all out. That's when you'll piece it together. Because you are the key. You hold the key within to create this beautiful journey for you. And that's what I've been doing all this time while healing. And I came across a beautiful video of a woman pouring water into a jug. But before she poured the water, she simply talked about having these new ideas, these new creations, and going for it. Amidst anything that you're going through, you simply just go for it. And then she started pouring the water into the jug. And in this jug, there was different ping pong balls and little rocks and such. And she described those things as our traumas, our pains, our guilts, our worries, our fears, doubt, shame, greed, questions, all surfacing to the top of the jug. Meanwhile, clear water, beautiful water, filling as a base on the bottom of the jug. And so she went on to say, as all these ping pongs were halfway through the bottle, that most people stop during their healing journey because you're doing the work, you're feeling great, but as you're doing it, all of this comes to surface slowly, and you don't know what to do with that. And it's so true. Sometimes it may just be one or two things. Other days, it may be a bunch of random things. And then on days, it could just be old residuals coming up. Maybe it's tests or new cycles because you didn't quite heal. And I don't mean you heal and it goes away forever, because it doesn't. But once you accept that, identify that, connect with that, and then hold space for yourself during all of those moments it does arise, it doesn't feel as intense as it used to be. So she went on to say that this is the part of the journey that people quit. They walk away because it becomes too much. And I remember those nights where I would question myself and be, what am I doing? But then I simply would stop dead in my tracks and think and flash back and wonder, would I even want to go back? to that version of me, ignoring, avoiding, running, masking. Why would I want to go back to that? That seems like it would take even more work than the person I am now. So then she went to pour more water in there. It showed how the jug was filling up, and majority of it was just clear water, which was our foundation, which was now growing, becoming stronger. And then she got to the top where there was a couple ping pong balls, couple fears, couple anxieties. And she said, which surprised me, this is where people walk away from their healing journey because they feel so good, yet they don't want to do any more work. It's too much. I'm done. And I thought about that. I thought about what that would look like or feel like. To walk away from the progress that you've made. To simply just go into the comfortability. Get lost in the comfortability. Just to simply be at peace. Are you at peace? Are you home within? The video made me think about a lot of things. I loved it. I love the visual. I'm a visual learner. And it was just so profound. And it really had me questioning in a positive way about my journey and how proud I am for where I'm at today. And I've come a long way. Stuff like this, sharing, pouring out my soul, just being genuinely me, even if it sounds crazy, even if you don't agree with it, still going for it. Not ashamed, not afraid. I'm just me. Happily me, confident in sharing my story, sharing all of me, not just pieces of me, because the others were so masked. I'm just happy to be me, where I'm at now in my journey, continuing to grow and go with the flow. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Infinite Love.